All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All About Aspen, which is this particular episode I'm using as to double for my other show, which is Level Up Lando, a show that it takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success. That is the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never ending effort of trying to level up. I am your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm coming to you from my bedroom, aka Truscott Studios, right here in gorgeous Aspen, Colorado. Today is Tuesday, September 30th at 1:30 p.m. And boy, do I have a lot to catch you up on. So I'm just going to try to get right into it so that we can cover it in the amount of time that I have for these episodes, about a half an hour. So let's just dive right in. It's been a couple of weeks. I think the last time I checked in was around September 12th, and today is the 30th. So 18 days, nearly 3 weeks. I've had a lot happening. Going back about 3 weeks, I was able to negotiate a deal with Silver City Cycles. Shout out Silver City Cycles, an e-bike rental company here in town who I was able to coordinate a trade with, where I was able to do some videos for them in exchange for an electric bike, which is something I've had my eye on for a while, but has just always escaped me because I can't afford it. They're expensive. They're like $2,000. So to be able to come up on one was just unbelievable. Beyond that, I went and I shot the actual day of production for them, and it went phenomenal until the very end of the day when I crashed my drone. And that was a total bummer. It broke, and I had to then send it back to get repaired, which was going to take 2 weeks to get them back to me. But I was able to pay for expedited shipping, which got it back to me in a week. So that was really lucky. And it also made me realize I definitely need a second drone, which was cool because as I was thinking that to myself, one of my buddies reached out to me and was like, I got a drone sitting in my closet and you can have it if you want it. And I said, sure, I could always use a backup drone. So he sent me this guy and just got it yesterday, which is sweet because even though it's just a dinky little drone, it's a second drone, So it's made by Hoover. No, Holy Stone. Holy Stone. So never heard of them. It's definitely just this dinky little drone, but it's still I can maybe start teaching drone flying lessons with it. I don't know. It's nice to have a backup in case I need it. So that's really cool that somehow the universe helped me to manifest a second drone when I need to get a second drone. But in the meantime, I had the drone that my primary drone repaired and sent back to me, and that worked out great because it all happened the day before I left to go to Las Vegas to celebrate my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. So that was another amazing highlight over these last couple of weeks where I got to go to Vegas. I was there for almost a week, 6 days, and it was great the whole time. I really enjoyed it. I got to lounge by the pool, got a lot of family time. My family didn't really have any dramas, which is rare and kind of a unique experience for us to all get together and to have it be smooth and fun and loving the entire time. And it was all of those things. I think because all of us kids were there for a common goal, which was to celebrate my parents being married for 50 years. And so that was amazing. And having all their friends that were both in the wedding and that they've known throughout their whole lives be at this event was really cool to get to catch up with a lot of them, as well as the party that we threw was just a great party. So, really fun time in Vegas. And tried to come back on Monday of last week, and it was raining in Denver, so I was unable to get in. So I actually ended up going back to the hotel in Vegas where my parents were still staying, and I spent another night with them, and then got on a plane last Tuesday, a week ago, and finally made it back to Denver, where it is peak leaf season. The leaves are yellow and orange and red, and it is absolutely stunning here in Aspen and all up and down the Roaring Fork Valley, where it is fall and one of my favorite seasons as somebody who comes from Southern California, where we really only had two seasons. to have 4 is such a delight, and to have one of them be a season of foliage is, for somebody who's not from there, just a really fun experience every year. I've only been experiencing a fall season since I moved to Aspen. Essentially, I've experienced it here and there, but not like really. I get to live through it and watch as the leaves change color on a day-to-day basis. Not to mention which, this is now my job. This is now my industry as I run Aspen Drone Company. The peak season here, the peak leaf season here, is just like my high season. So in that way, I was able to lock in a new client, a realtor who I got to go meet with last week, and he gave me a bunch of different properties to go shoot during these peak leaf seasons. And I'm just thrilled to get to go out and take photos and video of these amazing properties. I shot a $24 million mansion on Saturday, as well as an $8 million mansion and a $6 million mansion yesterday. So, and I love real estate. I love these beautiful homes that we have here in the valley. It's a big reason why I created my business, was I wanted to get to see these houses up close and personal, and I'm getting to do that. So to go from last month, where I basically had no clients all month and I was just trying to drum up business the whole month, to this month where I've now got 2 clients, it's just really uplifting. It's nice to see some of the fruit of my labor and to be rewarded for some of my effort, when I'm more or less just going forward blind in the dark, trying to hope that I'm going the right way. So that then puts us into last weekend, where my friend Jody came up because I was actually able to secure a second e-bike in the deal, because he found out about it and he's like, I want an e-bike. So I negotiated for a second e-bike and then sold one to him, my friend Jody. And so he came up to pick it up on Friday. So he got up here Friday night, and then Saturday morning I went and I shot some drone footage of half marathon race that's hosted here in Aspen, called the Golden Leaf Half Marathon, which the Ute Mountaineer is a sponsor of, and they are a former employer of mine, as well as the only local sort of outdoor gear shop here in town. And I'm trying to negotiate a deal with them. So I went and I shot the beginning of the race, and then I went and I captured the $24 million mansion. And by the time I was done doing that, the race was just about over. So we went to the end of the race, and I got a little drone footage of the end of the race as well. So that was pretty cool to be able to get all that done in a day. And then Jody and I ripped our new e-bikes all the way up to the Maroon Bells, and I got to go see the Maroon Bells and hike out to Crater Lake on what was probably the peak day of the season as far as the leaves go. And so I got some really great footage. Unfortunately, I scratched the lens on my 360 camera, and now I'm going to have to pay $70 to have it repaired, and I got to send it back in. And kind of, I'm in this similar situation as I was when I crashed the drone. So luckily, I still have the drone operational, but it just sucks to have carelessly set the camera down on the ground and then dragged it a little bit, just for a second, across the asphalt where it scratched the lens. And it's super disappointing, because I got these new lens guard covers and I intentionally took them off because I was hiking with it. So it was on my bag. So I knew it wasn't going to get scratched. And then at the very, very end of the hike, I set my bag down, and that must have been where I scratched it, because when I got home, I noticed, and I was like, damn it. So now I've got to send that camera in, which is what I'm up to. That's this guy here, which then brings me to what happened today. I just got done with my second official podcast of All About Aspen. I'm actually doing it. I'm interviewing other business owners in the local valley to bring them on the show and to give people who are interested in what's happening here in Aspen some insight into what it's like to be a regular person living in this really exclusive, expensive part of the world. And it's going well. So she's a matchmaker. Her name is Gabby Aratow. And thanks for coming on the show, Gabby. It was great to have you on. So that was really cool. And she gave me a little good luck bunny, which is super dope. I'm really glad for that. She's a matchmaker, so she helps people get set up into relationships. And these are her business cards, which is a pack of matches, which is also super fun. So very clever, creative. But pat on the back for me, leveling up Lando. We got a podcast going. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And so the way she found me was I wrote an article for the newspaper. And in that article, it was about an interview with my other friend, Mitch Krause. Shout out Mitch Krause and Humanity, who came on my show and was the first sort of guest I had on my show. So she saw that article in the Times and then contacted me and came on my show today, this morning. So that is going particularly well. I'm having a little bit of an issue with the Times. They haven't been paying me, and I've been kind of hounding them a little bit to try to pay me. And in the process of having that happen, they decided maybe I just shouldn't publish my articles with them anymore. So I'm waiting to kind of see how that all plays out because I know that my writing was really popular and really well received by the town. So I'm hoping that they kind of come to their senses and decide that I'm worth paying and that I'm worth publishing. And if not, I'm going to have to find another way to get my writing out to the public because it seems to be of contribution and it seems to be desired. So I'm trying, but we've got a little hiccup there because that's the writing for the newspaper is such a great way for me to get access to sharing with the public. And that last article that I wrote for my friend Mitch helped me to get my next guest on my show. So I'd love to be able to keep doing that. And I'm definitely trying to continue to pursue other ways of getting my message and my voice out to the Aspen public. All about Aspen being one of them. So, and Level Up Lando, I think I'm going to make as a bonus episode. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, if you like these Level Up Lando episodes, watch them right now before I make them um, private. I'm going to start only giving them to people who decide to subscribe to the show. So that's another thing I got to work on. So let us bust out the little green book of accountability because we got some shit to do today. Although I have been staying consistent, I feel great. I just came back from a 2 mile run. It's day 2 since I got back from Vegas, but it's day 68 on my quest for 100. I've been doing push-ups a day prior to going to Vegas, and this is day 2 of doing 100 push-ups since I got back. So my physique has completely changed. I've really developed my physique just from doing 100 push-ups a day. That's probably been about 50 days, probably about 17, 18 days less than the amount of days I've run. But it's working. I'm staying consistent. Today's day 2 in a row of getting back into that old routine. Yesterday was hard. Yesterday I was sluggish and it felt like I had weights around my feet when I was running. Trying to do 10 push-ups, I was a struggle to get to 10 and I'm trying to get to 20. So by the time I got to 20, which I was able to do, I was like maxed out. But today I went on a run and it felt way better. I felt so much lighter and faster and healthier and like I'd shaken the rust off. And then going to do push-ups, I can get to 20 pretty easy. So my strength is finding its way back. It feels like I just had to sort of break through some of that rust and sort of laziness and get back into the motion of exercise and strenuous activity. So that went great. Going back to Jody coming to visit, we went to the Maroon Bells. And then Sunday we went and rode the e-bikes down the Rio Grande Trail. And these e-bikes are such a game changer. They do 21 miles an hour. I can get them up to 28, but you really drain the battery when you do that. So, and it's got a throttle. So I've just been holding the throttle down, doing 21 miles an hour, zipping around everywhere, and I am stoked. So with that, let's take a quick look at the little green book of accountability. We have to, today's the 30th. We got to finish the Silver City cycles, edits. We got to organize the realtor footage and edit that. We've got to try to organize the apartment. My place is messy at the moment with the paperwork. We've got a budget and bills and rent. We want to practice working with AI, chat bots, and agents. I also got to look into editing, which was Descript and a few others. Let's see. I got to update website with footage, footage, the logo, business cards, FAA certificate, ski pass, Ute Mountaineer, all right, so that's pretty solid. Where are we at here? 15 minutes. Okay, we're making pretty good time. So, all right, we got our little green book of accountability sort of taken care of. I definitely got a list of things to do. I got to return the camera. Turn the camera. So today's going to be an editing day, which that's one of the harder things for me to do, but it's critical. So I got to do it. I got to sit down and just crank out a couple of videos here, finish this Silver City cycle job and project, and then I can start on the realtor one. There's still some really nice leaf action happening, although it has peaked. They were on the other side of it, and we got a couple more days of really great leaves, and then they're going to start falling off and turn kind of like orange and then brown. And so, yeah, I've got a couple more days of trying to capture some of this stellar nature with the drone over the next couple of days. So in the meantime, I'm really proud of myself. I've really done a great job over these last couple of months, pushing the business forward, getting these clients, securing the deposits, knocking out the actual filming and footage gathering. And now I'm on the step where I've got to edit it and create it into a final product, which is hopefully going to be my bread and butter. Hopefully I'm going to be able to continue to produce content and take video and photos for money, and people are going to be blown away by it, and eventually I'll be able to scale. I recently got a drone pilot underneath my company, a second drone pilot, and I've got a couple of photographers. So as I continue to build out my roster of talent, I'm hoping that I can start paying somebody to edit for me, and that'll be the next transition in the company, as I then could outsource all my editing, know that it's going to be a higher quality than what I can do, as well as that will free up my time to be able to go source more deals. So I'm pretty happy with how I'm doing. I've come back from Vegas. I've got 2 different clients. I came up on an e-bike. My buddy just came to visit. We had a great weekend. I've captured a ton of content over the last few days, and I'm setting myself up for success. I've been running 2 miles these last 2 days. I've been doing 100 push-ups. I'm eating clean. I'm not drinking any alcohol. I've got some other vices I'm trying to overcome, and I'm trying to control my impulses, which is definitely difficult, but I'm doing it. So, yay, landed. And that is how you level up LANDO. You go like this. Yay, landed. And you got to acknowledge the little wins. You got to acknowledge the little victories, because if you don't, nobody else is going to. And from time to time, you got to toot your own horn, because if you don't acknowledge the little wins and how they compound, you can get caught up in feeling like you're not getting anywhere and like you're not gaining any ground, despite the little inches pushing you forward. They actually are. So you got to acknowledge yourself. We're doing it one more time. Yay, landed. I got my little good luck rabbit from hosting my second client. My second guest on the podcast. So things are happening. I'm trying to make my life happen. I'm trying to be the version of me that is worthy of and deserves all the great things that I'm working so hard to make happen in my life. So, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. There's definitely some places I can improve. There's definitely some weak points and some points that need attention. But beyond that, for the most part, I'm walking the talk. I'm doing what I said I would do. I'm being in integrity with myself. And those are all things that I'm really, really proud of because it's not easy. The truth is, it's not easy. Maybe for some people it is. I'm not one of them. So for me, it's an extremely difficult thing to not be hedonistic and selfish and immediately gratify myself. It's hard, you know. And I know the benefits. I know the consequences of making good decisions. And even though I know that, it's still really hard for me to consistently make good choices that allow me to level up and allow me to be the highest version of myself and to be of contribution and to be useful. And I'm doing it. So I'm being the version of me I want to see. And that is something that I don't take lightly and that I really acknowledge in myself. So good job, Landon. Yay. So now, with about 10 minutes to go, we're going to take a look at the Daily Stoic, which is 366 Meditation on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Thank you, gentlemen, for putting this book together. It's extremely helpful to me in resetting and reframing my mind and my mental state, particularly when things aren't going well, but even on a day like today when things are going particularly well. It's just a great way to consider how you're showing up in your reality and how you want to be and who you want to be. So, with that, let me let you into my mind really quick, and we'll see how today's lesson impacts me. So I'm doing particularly well, like I just went through. I've been running, I've been working out, I'm eating healthy, I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm writing for the newspaper, although maybe not right now. I'm building out my business and working for my clients. At the same time, I'm hosting my podcast and bringing guests on, which is just such a validation of what I'm doing all across the board. So I'm feeling like I'm winning. I'm feeling like I've broken through some of that adversity and the struggle. And now I am rising to the challenge at hand and finding some small semblance of success in that effort. So I'm feeling proud of myself. I'm feeling accomplished. And I'm feeling like I did all this. I'm feeling like I struggled the struggle and fought through it to create what I'm now experiencing, which is two clients, a really cool barter deal where I was able to trade my services for a luxury item I did not need. I do not need an e bike, but I am so glad I have one because now I can get to all these really cool drone locations and go fly the drone. So I am really thrilled that I was able to pull that off. I got to finish doing their edits for them, which is what I'm getting ready to do as soon as we finish here. And yeah, I'm just feeling productive. I'm feeling accomplished. I'm feeling like victory. I'm feeling achievement and success. And so all those things are things that have got me feeling particularly on the positive side of the scale, where normally I am trying to talk myself into feeling good, even though I'm suffering and even though things are really hard and I don't know how it's going to work out. Now I'm not experiencing any of that anxiety, any of that suffering, any of those sort of more difficult human experiences to live through. I'm not having that. So, and I'm still positive. I'm still like looking into the future optimistically and still trying to talk myself up. But it's a little easier to do when things are going well. So, feeling good. Let's see what the Daily Stoic has to say. So the last time we checked in was the 12th. Today is the 30th. So we've gone quite a ways. September 30th. You can't touch me. If you lay violent hands on me, you'll have my body, but my mind will remain with Zeno, quoted in Diogenes Laertius, Lives of the Eminent Philosophers 7.1.24. Zeno is not claiming magic powers, but simply that while his body can be victimized, philosophy protects his mind. Cultivated under his teacher, Stilpo, with an inner fortress whose gates can never be broken from the outside, only surrendered. Look at Reuben Hurricane Carter, the boxer wrongly convicted of homicide, who spent nearly 20 years in prison. He would say, I don't acknowledge the existence of the prison. It doesn't exist for me. Of course, the prison literally existed, and he was physically inside it. but he refused to let his mind be contained by it. That's a power that you have too. Hopefully, you'll never have to use this power in a situation of violence or grave injustice. However, in the midst of any and every kind of adversity, it is there. No matter what's happening to your body, no matter what the outside world inflicts on you, your mind can remain philosophical. It's still yours, it's untouchable. And in a way, then so are you. So, I guess that kind of references what I was talking about just a minute ago, which is having a positive mentality through adversity, having an upbeat, it's going to be okay, this hard time is only temporary mentality and mind frame is what then allows you to not just endure, but to a large extent, enjoy the suffering, to enjoy the hardship and the hard times of life, knowing that they both make you better. They help to reveal where you're weak. They help to improve your character and make you stronger. In addition to that, they are temporary and they're not going to last forever. And so, if you can kind of grit and bear it, that you will one day come out to the other side of that experience where you'll be wiser, more experienced, stronger, and more knowledgeable about both yourself and life through that experiences, which is why we have them. If life was easy, it wouldn't really be the master class in growing your soul that it offers. And no, not everybody takes on that challenge, but as somebody who does, and as somebody who's attempting to be better than I was yesterday every single day, I have learned to teach myself to embrace suffering, to allow for life to be hard and painful, and through those experiences, allow for growth and allow for education and understanding. And ideally, the development of the person that I am to become a more empathetic, understanding person who has lived a life filled with experience so that I can relate to somebody who maybe I don't relate to at all. And that then makes me a more well-rounded personality, a more well-rounded individual, and somebody who can help connect and unite across a broader span of people. And that's all my own desire to be the best version of myself, because the truth is that I'm a very selfish, egotistical, self-absorbed person who needs to work on being considerate and thinking about the impact that I have on other people. And when you recognize that your mind is the only thing that you have complete control over, and that, like the passage was illustrating, somebody can imprison you, somebody, and they can control your body, that while that is happening and while you might be physically under duress or pain, mentally you can be free, mentally you can be in control, mentally you can assert yourself over your external situation, which may be brutal. And in those times, to be able to control your mind and to assert yourself is critical. And if you don't, you become a victim to the situation. You become a victim of the abuse. You become the victim of your reality. And I just don't like being a victim. I am a victim often, but I'm also often a creator. And when I am the creator, I take accountability and responsibility for everything. And when I take accountability and responsibility, my mind is able to assert itself and allow for what's so to be so, while also not taking it personally and not putting a judgment, positive or negative, on the situation, and just allowing for it to be, but also allowing for myself and my demeanor and how I show up to be what I want it to be as well. Whether that's somebody who is strong and brave and courageous enough to push forward through pain, or whether that's somebody who is calm and understanding and allowing for things to be happening that I may or may not care for them to be happening, particularly the way that they are. So, with that, I'm going to send you out into the world knowing that you are in control of your mind. The list of things you can control is one thing long, and it is your own mind and your own choices. And so, if you're having a life that is filled with struggle, as mine often is, I encourage you and invite you to take a hard look at yourself and the choices you're making that have created that reality, to take accountability and to own your own state of being, to own your own mental state and recognize that how you think creates your reality. And so, if you like your reality, if things are going well and you're doing a good job creating a reality you love living, take credit for that. And if you don't like your reality and things are hard and you want it to be different, take credit for that. Own your own reality. And if you don't like it, be different. Think about who you would have to be the person worthy of the life that you want, and then start moving in that direction. So for me, that looked like stop stopping drinking alcohol. And it will look like doing 100 push-ups a day, not to do 100 push-ups a day, but because there's discipline, because there's commitment, because there's the reward of having discipline and commitment. And there's the real world demonstration of me doing what I said I would do, which is a win. It's a small win in a world where you need all those small wins you can get. So those are just a few examples of me trying to live into the version of myself that is going to be worthy of all the abundance, all of the wealth, all of the richness and the quality of life that I am worthy of, as I expect good things to happen. So I hope that you expect good things to happen in your day and your life. And with that, I'm your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm taking off.